Welcome to the Mediacurrent Contrib Half-Hour. It is our last meeting of August 2023, and also the last day of August, as it happens. Today we're going to take a look at some news and then dive into some issues and general discussions. Kicking off with housekeeping, I'm your host, Damien McKenna. I've been involved in the Drupal community since 2007, do a bunch of stuff, but people recognize me as that guy with the bunny ears who hops around the issue queues. My time is sponsored by Mediacurrent. We're an open source product agency, and our commitment to open source goes beyond software. So, as a reminder, next week, no meeting because I'm going to be on vacation. And thankfully, it looks like we're going to have nice weather for a couple of days at the beach. A much different beach in New Hampshire on the east coast of the US versus other beaches we've been to, but we'll have fun. On the 14th, I figured we could take a look at some beginner stuff for maintaining a project. Some coworkers offered to co-maintain a module that we're looking to use on some Drupal 10 sites, and I thought it might be a good time to loop around to look at the basics again. Then on the 21st, we'll pick up our efforts to migrate a Drupal 7 site to Drupal 10 again. And on the 28th, I'm sure we'll do something. If there's a topic you'd like us to take a look at or give a presentation on or anything at all, please drop a note in our planning issue and we'll add it to the schedule. So some news. There were a couple of security updates this week for some smaller modules on actually Drupal 9 only. Never mind that. But there were slightly minor issues, but as always, it's worth keeping your site's codebase up to date. No new core updates recently, so we're still at 10.1.2, 10.0.10, and 9.5.10, and then Drupal 7 on 7.98. Then there were some interesting changes in Drupal core. So now that I think about it, I forgot to add one to the list I wanted to mention. Oh well. So one thing is for people doing advanced database queries and stuff where you're writing your own transactions. There's a new wrapper in 10.2 to make that a little easier, I guess. If nothing else, make the code a bit uniform across different databases. And a long-standing oddity has finally been fixed. It used to be possible to have a theme and a module have the same name. My thingy .module and my thingy .theme. And I remember back on I think a Drupal 6 site running into some oddities where people had done that and getting confused on what was where and why this function was there and whatnot. So it is now officially no longer possible to have a theme and a module with the same name. And that change is also going into 10.2. Lots of events this month with Evolve Drupal Toronto next week, Drupal Camp Atlanta next week as well, then Twin Cities Drupal Camp and Drupal Days Portugal the following week. and Drupal Camp Spain on the 21st to 24th.
Got DrupalCon Europe.
Oh yeah,
That's in October.
duh. Thank you. I'm going to add that as a placeholder to my slide deck. Wait, no. Add a row. DrupalCon Europe. October. Yes. Thanks, Marky. I will make sure to fill it in for next time. But yes, DrupalCon Europe. How could I forget? But then Drupal GovCon and NetCamp in November. Both of them have been very good camps in previous years, so I'm sure that'll continue. One neat thing I wanted to share with the class is an alternative to Docker Desktop or Colima called OrbStack. It's a fairly new tool. They're still in public beta at the moment. The intention is it's going to be a paid commercial program with a subscription, but certain scenarios can be free. So if you're doing it like for just personal testing or specifically contributing to open source, it is free, but if you're using it for commercial work, they want you to pay for it. I tried it out last week when my local Colima install basically self-destructed and I couldn't get it to run, and ultimately wasted 2 days pulling my hair out, trying to get it to work. And ultimately I switched to Colima and it resolved a chunk of the problems I was hitting, and has been stable for the past week. Yay! But at least I was able to get back to work. I've also found it to be a bit less resource hungry than Docker Desktop. One neat thing is you don't define the amount of space you need in a solitary one giant bucket that Docker would stake out in your hard drive. It expands the space used necessary based on the space used dynamically. So it's not going to hog your hard drive. And you also have a nice simple UI for managing everything. And it seems to be a little lighter on memory, but I'll have a better idea after I test it a bit more. But so far, so good. Anybody have anything else you'd like to share? Marky, how did the camp go last week?
Well, it was a couple weeks ago, but it went really well. It was small. Yeah, it was last week I was traveling, but it was a little small, but a really great location. A lot of great talks. Hope to get the recordings done and up on YouTube here before the end of the year. But then again, I am already 3 years behind on recording, so we'll see how that works.
I hear you. I'm a few months behind on getting these meetings up on our YouTube channel, but that's excellent to hear. Very good. Any big plans on thoughts on feedback on next year's event?
No, we're gonna do. Everybody pretty much scatters right after, so we're gonna do a retrospective at the end of September, and then decide what we're gonna go from there. If we do it, I mean, we'd go back to Albuquerque. It was such a good area, and I just think it needs to gain traction in here.
Cool.
That's my thoughts. Somebody else might have other opinions. So
Cool. Happy to hear it went well. All right. Well then, let's open up the mic or open up the floor and pass the mic around. And if there are any issues that you'd like us to look at, now let's dig into them. Let's see if I find my keyboard shortcuts. A bit more room. Anybody have any issues they'd like to look at? Feel free to unmute yourself or post it into the channel or the chat. Oh, here's the orbstack program, orbstack.dev, because .com is too old hat, I guess. Oh, it also supports Kubernetes with the latest release. I have not used Kubernetes myself. I've just so far stuck with Docker environments. But if you need to do Kubernetes, it's all built in. And like I said, it's light and fast and simple. Following up on one recent issue, I had volunteered to maintain the spoiler module that I've been using on my personal blog. And it has been working pretty nicely. Let me see. Here we go. So I started doing some triage on the issue queue, but once I get back from vacation, I'll follow up and commit or make the Drupal 9 and 10 version available, work from the patches that I put together before. So Darren, care to unmute
Sure.
and give us an intro on this one?
Yeah, we've got some PHP settings in .htaccess, which are never read if PHP is running as, unless PHP is running as an Apache module. If it's running as a CGI script, .htaccess cannot set PHP settings. So the ask is to have them in user.ini, and we've created a change record explaining how to preserve any customization or custom settings in your .user.ini file. And yeah, this should just get Drupal working consistently, whether you are running PHP as a Apache module or as a CGI script.
Cool. Let's take a look at the proposed changes. So, that's useful. So one nice improvement is that they rename the htaccess, or they change the comment at the top of the htaccess file to specifically note it's for mod PHP.
Yeah.
Which may help avoid some confusion. Very cool. So then it adds the user.ini, assert active that. But is that the only change that is needed? I mean,
well, if you already have a custom user.ini, you need to add a patch so that when you update Drupal, it doesn't overwrite your customizations.
Okay. But there aren't any additional standard changes needed to make it run?
No, this is very simple.
Nice. If nothing else, it kind of becomes almost a pseudo documentation thing. To guide people on how to do it that way. Very nice. Short and simple. And the change in the files match line is to add the user.ini item right there. And then there's an example file. Composer.lock, updated because. And then the example scaffold files are also updated.
Right. If you're running the recommended composer, can't even remember what it's called, distribution, or, but anyway, the files are copied from the scaffold.
Yep. Cool. And short and simple. Let's take a look at the conversation that's been going on since 2015. Lots of work. Lots of work by this person called Darren O. Hey, you. Good work.
This is, to me, an example of bike shedding. You know, a lot of attention and work on the least significant issue.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Given it's been going on for so long and it's such a tiny issue. Minor things, fixed deprecated, asserts options function. Related, need change record update.
Yes, Musgrave apparently changed the status without actually reading the change record.
So let's remove that. The requested change record updates have already been made. So removing the tag.
I think we have a release note snippet also in the description, so we can remove that too.
Okay. Leave the comment. Also removing the suggested release notes.
Why are you removing this release note snippet?
Oh, I misunderstood. Apologies. There we go.
Yeah, I was talking about the tag, the issue tag.
Yeah. Cool. Super simple. All right. I'm going to mark it RTPC. It has gone through a lot of reviews. It looks super simple, straightforward. So I think it would be 1.2.0 release notes because 1.1 or 10.1.0 is already out.
Yeah.
Bumping this to the 10.2.0 release notes tag as 10.1.0 is already out the door. Save. Cool. Yeah, that's one of those tiny little things that should just be needs a bow and to be committed.
Yeah.
What is that other issue? Let's see. Fix cookie conflicts on shared domains.
Yeah, this one failed
Missing-
testing, and I haven't checked why yet.
Interesting. Let's see. Failed asserting that false matches expected 1. So something with the big pipe tests there. Session exists cache context.
It might be checking for a specific cookie name.
My browser's locking up with the length of the output. Comment new indicator. Failing, lots of unusual failures, but it does suggest that they're related to cookie paths or something.
Yeah, so what this does is it adds a hash of the database credentials to the session cookie, so that we can't have Drupal sites that are on the same domain, or cookie domain overwriting each other's cookies, and in that way blasting, or logging out each other's users.
Right. Not sure domain users. And that can't be fixed by changing the cookie host name?
Not always. Sometimes
Okay.
you have a part of the host name that sometimes the subdomain structure might not allow that. For example, we have here at Estee Lauder elc.dev as our, or elc.net as our common end host name, and then we might have some parts that are different, like US, NA, and then we have a brand subdomain. So we have these brands that have one brand that has several domains for a single site, and it shares some of those domain elements in between its brand name and the elc.net part with other brands that are on a different database. So there's no wildcards in cookie domains, so we cannot get around that with setting a cookie domain.
Okay. Yeah. Session cookie prefix. So
yeah, so session cookie prefix would allow a reverse proxy to filter out the cookies that are for other brands, because sometimes if we have about 500 sites that all use the elc.net common part of their domain. So if you have that many session cookies, it can cause Drupal to crash.
Interesting. It's not just stepping on each other's toes. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unusual. But I see the rationale. Any thoughts on how this could be tested? I guess, just in terms of trying to prep it for being committed, they'd want test coverage. So
Yeah, I guess to test it, you would
because
need to
it's
have 2 sites on the same domain and one browser accessing both sites. So
you could start with just verifying that if a session cookie is defined in the settings, that it shows up and is recognizable, and then
yeah,
could change the session cookie prefix and confirm that the other session doesn't show up anymore without having to
oh yeah,
get too in the woods about setting up multiple parallel installs.
yeah. I guess that would make sense.
And then you could change it back again and confirm that the first one was still working.
Yeah, that's probably why the tests are failing. There's probably some tests that test the session value or session name, and it's not matching what's expected anymore.
With the session name where it adds, in terms of changes, I think this part here where it adds the hash salt to the session name is the main practical difference. So that if the standard install is used in the tests is setting a hash salt, that would break it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely an interesting change, and I know there are lots of companies and organizations running hundreds, in some cases thousands of sites. They could benefit from this kind of nuanced change. But yeah, well, hopefully these two will get finished off and committed. Good luck with the test coverage on that one.
Thank you.
All right, let's leave it there for this week. That's all for today. Thank you for joining us. And as a reminder, no meeting next week. We'll be back again on, I think it is the 12th. Wait, no. Something.
14th.
14th. Thanks, Marky. All right. Have a fantastic 2 weeks. See you then.
Take
Thanks
care,
for
everybody.
joining us.
Enjoy your vacation, Damien.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.